Welcome to another edition of Super Low Rent Sports Talk Theater. I'm Joe Opius.
I'm Chris Clark. How's it going?
It's a very special edition of the show today, Chris. We don't have any picks. It's kind of a weak weekend in the ACC, except for one game and one game only, and that is North Carolina versus South Carolina. Look, we're not ones for the cliche, but who is the real Carolina is a conversation we can have all day long.
That's right. It's a Border Wars edition of Super Low Rent Sports Talk Theater. Let's go down the list, positives and negatives, and see which state is the real Carolina.
We're a little biased in the situation though, because we're both North Carolina natives. We're not natives. You're a native. You were born in this state. I've adopted North Carolina as my home since 1995.
That's right. Traditionally, Joe, Floridiot.
Yeah, Floridiot. Floridian, thank you very much.
My fault.
Yeah, your fault, exactly. So let's run down the list, shall we? Let's start off with something easy. Let's go with cities. North Carolina's got some great cities. So does South Carolina, although I think there's less of them. Who wins in this department?
We're going to have to give it to South Carolina. Charleston is the best city out of either state. And though Charlotte does challenge the entire state of South Carolina in terms of strip clubs and porn shops, they just can't beat Charleston as far as flavor.
Definitely has a lot of flavor. Although I put Wilmington up there. Wilmington, Asheville. Those are two really nice cities in the state of North Carolina, but I guess you got nothing.
Way too classy for my taste.
All right, we'll add it with that. Well, let's keep with the location kind of thing. Let's actually pare it down to beaches. I'll put Wrightsville Beach up with Hilton Head, Myrtle Beach. I'm going to take Wrightsville Beach in this situation. What about you?
South Carolina's going to win on this for number of wings shops.
I think they should lose because of the number of wing shops. Plus, all the pavement. At least I can go to Wrightsville and actually see a beach and not have to deal with like the NASCAR themed restaurant that's up in Myrtle Beach.
Do you have to get your shots to go into a NASCAR themed restaurant?
I believe you do, actually. You better watch out. You might have tetanus when you walk out of there. You don't want that. Or hepatitis A, for heaven forbid. You don't want any of that stuff. Let's move on to the next item on the list between North Carolina and South Carolina. This is the testy one. This is the one that actually can break up a happy home. Barbecue.
That's right. North Carolina has both tomato and vinegar-based sauces. South Carolina has a mustard-based sauce. And it's gross. Really disgusting. It makes every part of me want to retch. North Carolina wins hands down. Today
on the show, we talked with Bob Garner, who is pretty well known for writing North Carolina Barbecue, seasoned and flavored through time. It's actually a good book. He's done some PBS stuff for UNC TV. Even he, a connoisseur of barbecue, and actually has some great places to go in South Carolina, says that just the sight of South Carolina barbecue is enough to make him go, I'm not so much down with that.
Well, if he's on PBS, we know he has an obvious liberal bias. But he does support North Carolina barbecue, so we'll rack that up as an expert opinion.
All right, now, Chris, here's another very, very controversial. I mean, you thought barbecue could be controversial. How about very hated members of the government? Jesse Helms of North Carolina versus Strom Thurmond of South Carolina. Who is more evil?
Evil?
Yes.
Hated.
Yes.
These two men are beloved by much of their own states.
You actually do have a point. All right.
But whose conservative credentials rank the best? Strom Thurmond or Jesse Helms?
That's a good question. We'll see. Jesse Helms has single-handedly handcuffed Cuba with embargoes and whatnot. So he's got a point in his favor because we don't like communism on this program. Boo, communism. Boo. So credit him.
This, Joe? You need to consider the fact that Jesse Helms is friends with Bono. Is that what a true conservative would do? No.
Bono's a liberal little hippie. That's not very conservative. However, I will counter that with Strom Thurmond happens to like a little bit of that chocolate rain, if you know what I mean. So what does that say?
What a man. Like some mocha.
I can't knock it. I ain't knocking it.
I ain't knocking it.
You know what? And because of that, point goes to Strom Thurmond for a little chocolate rain.
We miss you, buddy. You and your pumpkin hair. Something definitely to behold.
If I could, Blinkos would get upset at me if I did this, but I would pour one out for you, Strom. Rest in peace, my man. Miss Americas, the contestants. You got Teen South Carolina. You've got Rebecca Revels, or whatever her name was, along with Misty Clymer, who they had this whole debate. Now, obviously, I'm bringing this up because we just need an excuse to give you Lauren Upton and her geography question.
I personally believe that U.S. Americans are unable to do so because some people out there in our nation don't have maps, and I believe that our education, like such as in South Africa and the Iraq, everywhere like such as, and I believe that they should, our education over here in the U.S. should help the U.S. or should help South Africa and should help the Iraq and the Asian countries, so we will be able to build up our future for our children.
Thank you very much, South Carolina.
We would have given you the naked pictures of Rebecca Revels, but the station won't allow us.
No.
So enjoy the Miss South Carolina clip. Moving right along.
Based on that, though, I think we have to give a tip of the hat and a point to North Carolina, because at least she's taken off her clothes. Ding. We like that. And last but not least, we do have the coaches between North Carolina and South Carolina. Who is the real Carolina? Who will be victorious this weekend? Let's talk strictly coaches here, Chris. The old ball coach, Steve Spurrier, versus Butch Davis.
I always come at this as an entertainment factor. Who's really doing their job? Not winning football games, keeping me interested in what's going on with the team. Butch Davis, good coach, good recruiter, excellent builder of programs, but tragically not funny. Steve Spurrier, hilarious.
Has Butch Davis taken a whiz at Augusta?
Probably not.
Probably not. No, that honor goes to the old bowl coach, who even will call out his own school for admission standards and things like that. So frankly, we're going to have to go with the old ball coach. But Chris, now it's time for the moment of truth. The game. North Carolina coming off a huge victory over Miami. South Carolina's been in, out, quarterback issues, but still pretty decent team in the SEC. Old ball coach's return to Kenan Stadium. The last time he was there, he took this photograph. Are we going to be, I know that's brutal, are we going to be seeing something similar from the old ball coach this Saturday?
Well, if North Carolina turns the ball over a bunch of times, then yes. But if they don't, then I just don't think this is going to be a very high-scoring game. South Carolina is a team that works with their defense and running game. They're not the fun-and-gun Spurrier teams of old. This is a different Steve Spurrier. It's one that's winning, but he's not winning in quite the same way as what people are used to seeing. We're going to go with South Carolina 20, North Carolina 10.
And that is your one and only pick out of the weekend, although I do believe that NC State might give up a couple of picks to the bye this weekend. What do you think?
No, we're going strong with NC State over the bye. We like that.
Just don't get hurt, Wolfpack. It's just the bye. Don't do anything silly on your week off. It's going to wrap up another edition of Super Low Rent Sports Talk Theater. Quick and dirty edition, but really, it's only one game that you got to talk about. North Carolina, South Carolina. I'm Joe Ovius.
I'm Chris Clark. Have a great weekend.